The sun was slowly setting over the hills, casting long shadows across the once peaceful park. The serene ambiance had given way to a scene of neglect, with the park now filled with trash and inhabited by numerous tents housing vagrants and the homeless. The park, once a cherished retreat for families and joggers, now bore the marks of abandonment and disrepair. Overgrown grass and weeds choked the flower beds, and the once pristine paths were cracked and uneven. The playground, once alive with the laughter of children, stood deserted, its swings creaking in the breeze, and the slide covered in graffiti. Walter studied a group of downtrodden men and women gathered around several cluttered shopping carts by the brick restroom in the center of the park. They appeared deeply engrossed in hushed conversations, their faces etched with the hardness of lives lived on the fringes of society. He knew they would likely have information on the enigmatic source that had emailed him about the missing children. However, talking to crackheads and druggies was not something he looked forward to doing alone. Walter knew he could handle himself in a fight, but would rather avoid conflict. Walter was a tall, built man with dark ebony skin and a muscular build that was imposing but betrayed by gentle eyes and a soft smile. His presence drew a few wary glances, but most of the park's inhabitants seemed too absorbed in their own troubles to pay him much mind. As he surveyed the scene, Walter noticed a young girl with a large white-brimmed hat on her lap as she sat alone on a bench next to the docile stream of water. The stream, once a clear and babbling brook, now flowed sluggishly, its waters murky and littered with debris. She appeared to be staring directly at him, her eyes unblinking and unnervingly focused. "Is that the contact?" Faye asked as he approached Walter. Faye was a slender Vietnamese man with a night black jacket which matched his jet black hair. Walter shook his head. "I really doubt it." "What is the sign again?" Faye asked, sounding almost bored. "If you are looking for the missing children, then head to Paris Hill Park. Look for the witch." That is what the email said. "Witch, you say?" Faye mumbled enthusiastically. "Well, let's get this investigation going." "Of course that would pique your interest, you satanic little—" "I am an occultist, good sir," he interjected. "More Constantine and less Crowley." "Cast me a spell then, mighty Constantine," Walter mocked. "Not quite there yet, and I doubt this little errand is going to be all that exciting." "Errand?" Walter questioned. "What do you mean?" Faye shook his head in frustration. "I didn't think Job would waste our time with a gig like this. Vampires, werewolves, Bloody Mary, that is what we signed up for. The paranormal and the supernatural. Whose stupid idea was this?" Walter paused a moment in reflection. "It was mine." He mumbled, half ashamed of disappointing his friend. The other half angry that he would even be ashamed. "I thought we could do something. Something worthwhile for once. Michael was right about you." Walter could only shake his head. "What did he say this time?" "That you were going to die first," Faye answered without hesitation. "Because the black guy always dies first?" "Maybe," Faye pondered. "Maybe because the tank always dies first? Then the raid wipes. Maybe both? At least I will go out with a bang. But it doesn't matter anyway. Let's just find this witch, and maybe we can get you back to hunting vampires." Faye's eyes peaked up with excitement. "You really think we will meet one? Do you think we could take one?" Walter nodded along in silence, listening at his friend's imaginative dreams and fantasies of what they might find, what wonders they might see. His own imagination drifted in a far different direction. Long hours studying this case, studying the others like it left him little room for wondrous dreams. All he was left with was horror, and nightmares. On the western side of the park, Michael sat casually lounged on the comfort of his bench, securing quadrant 1 as he scratched call for a good time, followed by Walter's phone number, with one of his kunai onto the wooden surface. Michael possessed a well-built but lean physique, something he owed to the extensive workout regimen his personal trainer / soon-to-be wife placed him and the other team members under on a daily basis. He was a handsome man with short dark hair and olive skin, possessing a roguish charm that he often kept hidden under baggy clothes, which concealed the thin leather body armor he wore underneath. A dozen throwing blades lay concealed from boot to belt, with many attached to holsters beneath his attire. The western side of the park was more manicured, with evenly spaced lampposts that provided ample lighting as the day dimmed. The paths were wider and less cracked, offering a clear and unobstructed view of anyone approaching. This section had a quieter, almost deserted feel, with fewer people and less activity, making it an ideal spot for Michael's watch. It was also the shortest walk from the van. Michael slowly rose to his feet as he saw Job approaching. Job, pronounced like Job from the Bible, a spelling abomination that had irritated Michael since they were children. Job's dad must have been an idiot. "Get your ass up," Job barked as Michael stretched. Job wore a thick denim jacket with a fur lining that covered the buttoned-up shirt underneath. A plain black beanie covered his equally black hair, and his thick, dark beard was rugged but well kept. "What's in the bag?" Michael asked, spotting the camo duffel bag over Job's shoulder. "Never mind. I'm sure it's a gun or something that goes boom." "SMG," Job stated. "Let's meet up with Trish." "I didn't see it at first," Michael teased as he followed Job across the park. "Because of the camouflage. We need to talk about your wife." "Hey, we ain't married yet." "And what about her?" Michael protested. "Besides, she carries her weight on the team. Remember who killed that chupacabra?" Job stopped, staring at Michael. His eyes were dark and unwavering. He had been intense before he left for the military and served under Blake's unit. But he was not the same after he came back. "Just be quiet and listen for once in your life. I never invited her to join our crew. I never brought her into this. But every time you show up, with her tagging along..." Michael was caught off guard by Job's response. "You said you had no problem with her training with us. Hell, you encouraged it." Job quickly interrupted him. "Hold on, and just listen so that I make this clear. Trish is a world-class swordswoman and should have competed in the Olympics. I wish you jackasses took this half as seriously as she does. So act like a professional, like she is, and don't drag her down into one of your dumbass schemes." "This is Trish. Over," sounded on their walkies. "Two bums are following me through quadrant 4. Permission to engage and kill them?" "Request denied," Job snapped back. "We are on our way." Job turned to Michael in frustration. "Found yourself a real keeper. Let's move out."